Hello. I'm Susie Cobden, and I'm sure most of you know me, but I really wanted to share the reason behind creating this group and what I believe are some of the most important aspects of creating a life that we truly desire, a life that fulfills us, lifts us up in every aspect, and enables us to live the life that I know each one of us came here to live. None of us came here to play small, to live a small life. And for most of my life, I did. I allowed fear to keep me a homebody. You know, I had lots of nice expressions to allow me to play safe, to not express who I was, to live small and to hide from life. So to create wealth from within, because I believe we all deserve to be wealthy. You know, it's our natural state. We were born into an abundant world. We are abundant. We have infinite potential. Most of us don't live it. You know, I was reading a little book called U Squared last night. It quoted that humans at best express 10% of their actual potential. So no matter what life we're living right now, if we're expressing 10%, we could live 10 times bigger. I want to read you the opening story that was presented in U Squared. It's a tiny little book, but it's a potent little book. It's very powerful. A true story. I'm sitting in a quiet room at the Millcroft Inn, a peaceful little place hidden back among the pine trees about an hour from Toronto. It's just past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on just a few feet away. There's a small fly burning out the last of its short life energy in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of the window pane. The whining wings tell the poignant story of the fly's strategy. Try harder. But it's not working. The frenzied effort offers no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It's impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has staked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. The fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is open. 10 seconds of flying time, and this small creature could reach the outside world that it seeks. Within only a fraction of the effort now being wasted, it could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. Why doesn't the fly try another approach? Something dramatically different. How did it get so locked in on the idea that this particular route and determined effort offer the most promise for success? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an idea that will kill. Trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer any real promise for getting what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, it's a big part of the problem. If you stake your hopes on a breakthrough, on trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances for success. That was written by Price Pritchett. And how true is that? You know, how many of us, we get into a tough situation in life, quite often financially, and we think if we just try harder, if we work a few more hours, if we get a second job, then everything will be fine. But the thing is, I know in my life I was like that fly. I was doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. I came across the online space, a beautiful system which I'm not sharing with you today, that enabled me to take a different approach. It enabled me to do something different, to think differently and feel differently, discover more of myself, and thereby create a different life. But doing isn't everything. We have to leverage the invisible side of success. All of our results, every single one of them, are created in the invisible, in the non-physical, before we can enjoy them earthside. Every single potential exists before us right now. And through our awareness, our expectations, our understanding of ourself and the laws of creation, we get to bring them into the physical. Now, as humans, we are 3 parts non-physical and 1 part physical. We are spiritual, we are intellectual, we are emotional, all non-physical aspects of ourselves, and we're physical. Now, we use our spiritual, our intellectual, and our emotional to create in the non-physical, and it's through our physical action that it becomes physical on the earth. It becomes physical in our own world for us to enjoy it. So we must optimize this non-physical side of ourselves. As humans, up till now, most of us believe our success has come through doing. You know, we gain all of this intellectual knowledge, and most of it we never ever apply. So we approach our world mostly through doing. At least most of us believe that that's how we earn our money. You know, for me, up until just a few years ago, it was trading my life for a job. A job that didn't really fulfill me. A job in which I had to play a role that wasn't able to express my whole self. I had to put on a new costume. I had to be a certain way to fulfill the role that I had been employed to fill. So we want more money, we want more freedom. And there's this fine line between doing to achieve and trying too hard, which comes out of doubt and worry. You know, when we don't understand our non-physical self and we don't employ this aspect of ourself, we turn to the physical. And when things get stressed in our outside world, when we feel any sort of scarcity or lack, we try harder. So what if we could create a delicious life for ourselves using the law of least effort? What if we could apply our non-physical self and have it working for us, doing most of the work, and then taking aligned action which supports where we're heading? Now, whatever work we are doing, if we are doing the work, we should be doing this work with the expectation of it returning to us. For me, I connect on social media. I share who I am. I share the life that I'm creating. I share my values. I share what lights me up. I share my struggles. I share value. I share solutions. And I know that when people reach out to me, I have got something that is available to them that will solve their asking. Whenever there is an asking, there is a solution. So if I have a solution, I know there are people asking. Therefore, if I am doing some sort of work, I also know that there is somebody wanting to employ me in that work. If I am making an offering of some sort, there is also someone there that wants to buy what I'm offering. This is the law of cause and effect. For every solution, there's an asking. And for every asking, there is a solution. And nothing happens in the universe that there isn't first an asking for. There's nothing in the universe that's a waste of time. Everything is there for a reason. Everything is a gift. And when we can look at our outside world and our inner world and know that whatever is going on is a gift, then we open ourselves to receive in that way. So if I'm selling, someone is buying. If I'm offering a solution, somebody has the answer to my solution. I have to trust in myself, and I have to trust in the laws of the universe. So how much do you trust in yourself? How much do you love you? Because I truly know that everything in the outside world is me pushed out. My whole world is happening inside of my consciousness. God, source, energy, whatever you want to call it, flows through every single one of us. And this God self, this inner self, this soul is absolutely perfection. And this inner self, this God self, this source is expressed through me into my world, producing my world through the filter of my belief system, through the filter of my personality. And because my world only exhibits my belief system, if I have a belief system that doesn't support me having abundance, if I happen to get some, if I happen to gain abundance, it will be short-lived because it can't be withheld in my consciousness yet, because my belief system doesn't allow it. So what are your thoughts about yourself? You know, our self-image really is the foundation of our belief system, and it's the foundation of what we're living in our life. So if we have a poor image of ourselves, if we don't love ourselves, if we don't respect ourselves, then we are going to be lacking in confidence, we're going to be lacking in self-assurance, we're going to be lacking in self-worth. And all of this is going to play out through our life in relationships, in our finances, in our friendships, in absolutely every way, because all of life emanates from within us. So many of us are afraid to fail. We have our self-image tied up in what can be seen as physical results in our world. And we've got it all backwards. You know, we look at the outside world and we allow that to determine our self-worth. But our self-worth is our own opinion of ourself, and it's the cause, not the effect. If we're looking outside of us and then labeling ourselves success or failure because of our physical results, then we've got it all backwards, and we're actually making ourselves victim to this outside world. I believe we all have to make peace with failure. I'm not saying you're going to fail, but whenever we're afraid to fail, we are mostly afraid to take the leap into a new direction. Fear of failure stops so many people in their tracks, and they never ever achieve their goals and desires, or indeed the life that they truly want. I remember hearing a story many years ago about a young fellow who met this girl, and as he was starting to desire to be with this girl in the early stages of their relationship, she was an ice skater, and she wanted him to come out on the ice with her to go ice skating. And he was afraid. He was afraid if he went out on the ice with her, he would fall over and she wouldn't respect him. He'd lose her love. And he kept saying no. And it got to a point where he divulged to her that he didn't know how to skate. And he'd put all of his eggs in the basket of, if I fall over, I'm going to be a failure. She won't love me anymore. I wouldn't be perfect. Anyway, she taught him how to fall. She took him out on the ice, and over and over and over again, she showed him how to fall. He practiced falling until he knew that he could fall safely and not break a leg and not lose her love. So he went out on the ice rink, and to his astonishment, he didn't fall once, because he'd removed that fear of failure. And I believe it's the same with all of us. You know, whenever we hold a fear of failure, a fear of judgment of other people, we hold ourselves back from living our true potential. So we have to be happy with our own self now, like right now, as we are, before we can assume something more. We have to be happy with ourselves, even if we fail. Now, I'm not saying you will fail, but if you can let yourself off the hook and know that failure is part of success, then you open yourself up to new possibility. I am a big believer in goals. A big goal, not a goal that we know how to achieve, or not even a goal that we think we can achieve. Because if we know how to achieve it, or we think we can achieve it, we're actually using logic and our past, because all logic is past programming, to create or to bring into being a new goal. Now, I'm a consultant and a facilitator for many of the Proctor Gallagher programs of in deliberate creation. This is my passion. This is what I teach. And Bob always said, you know, it was one of his favourite lines, that goals are for us to grow, not to get. You know, when we go after a goal, yes, we do get, we achieve, and we receive in the physical. But it's who we become on this journey that really matters. You know, everything exists right now. Nothing is created or destroyed. So the you that you desire to be, living the goal that you want, already exists. Only it's on a different frequency than where you are now. If you want to say it another way, it's in a different location. It's in a different place. And that goal there is a place. You know, here's me, here's my goal. This is a place, just as much as where I am right now is a place. And I've got to become the self that can live on this frequency up where my goal is before I can achieve it. And that happens through applying ourselves, through learning new skills, through taking new action, but it also comes through thinking differently, through feeling differently. You know, our thoughts create our feeling. You know, and this became very obvious to me in my life. You know, in the last 12 months, I've lost someone very dear to me. My dad passed. And he passed before I knew that he had passed. Now, I wasn't upset about his passing until I found out, until I received that call. Which meant that I wasn't upset because he'd passed. I was upset because of my thoughts about his passing. And I know that there's thoughts behind every emotion that we feel. And yes, our body does get addicted to emotion, and our body calls forth certain chemicals to be released into the body because of that addiction. So once we get into a regular feeling in the body, say we are generally living in anxiety, the moment we step out of anxiety into a new feeling place, our body is going to speak to the brain, It's going to call forth something to bring us back into that standard, that known place of anxiety. However, I do know that the thoughts affect our feelings, and as creators, we're able to use our thought and our imagination to shift our focus and to shift our frequency and to build a new life. When we can get into gratitude, we can shift our frequency, we can shift our focus, and we can start to create on a whole new level. Gratitude is almost an instant shifter. It will take us towards anything we desire. But having a goal that we're actually really passionate about, a burning desire, something that logic can't take us to, we get to stretch in a big way. We get to imagine, we get to feel, and we get, through this imagination and through this feeling, taken into higher and higher frequencies where our goal already exists. But we can't do it while ever we don't have belief in ourselves, while ever we don't believe in the laws of the universe. So we must have self-love, we must have confidence, we must have faith in ourselves and in the laws. Otherwise, we're merely wishing. We aren't creating. So how much do you really love yourself? If you lost everything you had tomorrow, could you still love yourself? How much of your love for yourself is based on what you possess? Because I know for many of us it is. And that was something that I had to face, and something that I've really delved deep into. 4 years ago, I had pretty much nothing. And I had very low self-respect, very low self-love. And I've done the work to shift all that. So when we can truly love ourselves, then we create a whole new world. To create from this place of self-love with a burning desire, we are powerful. When we love ourselves, we have a healthy love for ourselves, a healthy respect. We actually invite or close that separation between ourself and our creator self, our God self. And as we step further and further into this place of harmony within, we open ourselves to a bigger flow of this delicious source, God, creator self, this infinite potential. And it is at our beck and call. It's there and available for us to create with. As a woman who has a nana, I've come through, a life of shyness, of hiding away, of no confidence, of being such a big pleaser, really losing myself as a way of gaining love, which was so backwards. That's like saying to the fire, give me heat. We've got to build the fire. We've got to put all the good stuff in before it can give the good stuff out. But I didn't know that. And I thought by my giving myself away to other people, I could earn their love and respect, and that would make me worthy. And it wasn't until I found myself alone several years ago that I realised what I was actually doing. Because once I became alone, I had nothing. I had no one to prove myself to, no one to please. And there was this big empty hole, and my earth was falling into it. I'd created a cage for myself, and I couldn't find a way out. I'd been into spirituality for quite a few years, and I expected that to save me. But I was in such a low place emotionally that I couldn't climb out of it. You know, emotionally and financially, I was struggling. And I know that the emotional struggle came before the financial. It was the emotional struggle that created the financial struggle. It created everything in my world. I've been a life coach, a healer. I'm a reconnective healer. I'm an open channel, and I've been an avid sponge for everything spiritual, metaphysical, quantum, you name it, for about 15 years. But it was all up here. You know, it was like I was living in two worlds. I had this day job, which, you know, I was putting on this role, this pleaser. I was going to work. I was doing a fabulous job at work, and I was getting a paycheck at the end of the week. And then I'd come home and I'd dig into spirituality, and it was like I was living two different selves. I was this human meat suit living this role through the day, and I was a spiritual being at night time, and there was no coming together of them. And that is what has altered. That is what has changed my world. You know, as a purely spiritual being, I was having lots and lots of fun in the non-physical. I was enjoying the adventures I had inside of consciousness and who I was connecting with and the energy that I felt. But I wasn't bringing that into my physical life. And therefore, I was like this fly bashing myself against a window, and I was doomed until a lifeline was given to me. Until, you know, this opportunity that I'm going to share tomorrow came into my life, appeared on my social media, that I missed myself and yet was directed back at me by one of my girls. It was something that I know was a gift from above. It wasn't an accident that I came by this. So, you know, I stepped into the online world, you know, and a beautiful system that has been working with me for 4 years, working for me. You know, it's a conscious business. It comes with automation, so I'm not trading my time for the all-important dollar. And I've been able to afford the luxury of bringing my non-physical self into all aspects of my life and my beingness. You know, to live as I came here to live. To use the leverage offered by the three parts of me that are non-physical. and to also use the leverage of the physical and the automation offered to me to create a delicious life. And through the doing inside of this business, using new skill, getting out of my own way and facing the fears that had kept me locked inside of the smallness of the life I'm living, you know, I've been able to step into higher and higher aspects of myself, more and more wholeness. And as Bob said, you know, having a goal isn't about getting, it's about growing. I believe we all need a burning desire, a passion that we want to achieve in our life, because that gives us the direction. It sets our GPS. It gives us the desire to break through our fears, to achieve it. It gives us something to work for. You know, I believe our goal is like a delicious carrot to a donkey. You know, it gets us to take those steps. And we do reach that carrot. But who we become through stepping through whatever fears we have inside to get to that goal, through the doing, through the aligning with the self, through the meeting of other people, through the meeting of other selves, we become more whole. And that's the true gift. We receive the goal because of who we become. You know, just 4 years ago, I was somebody so lacking in confidence, so lacking in so many areas of my life. I was living a very isolated life. I separated myself from pretty much all of life, from other people. I was desperately lonely. And now I have a thriving business that connects me with like-minded people all over the world. I have beautiful friendships and connections. I've made lifelong friends through this business and through the connections I've made. And I've stepped into my understanding of my truth. You know, this business has allowed me in the last 18 months to invest so highly in myself. Pretty much the cost of a mortgage, to invest in myself, to study and become somebody who is able to serve the world through serving myself. It's because of who I have opened myself up to become, through realizing who I am and becoming authentic, to owning my truth, to loving myself, to becoming confident, in understanding the laws of creation and applying this and living this in every way possible, has made my life so delicious. And I know that absolutely everybody in my life is an aspect of me. I can only ever meet with my own frequency. This is how the law of vibration works. You know, a lot of people say the law of attraction. Well, that's actually a secondary law. The law is actually the law of vibration. What we put out comes back to us in equal proportion. But we only ever meet with ourselves, which means every single person in my world is part of me. So going back before all of this, me living a very isolated life, I was only living a portion of me, a very small portion. And now through meeting other people, I get to reunite with all of these aspects of myself. I get to stretch my potential through becoming aware of who I am, through my understanding, through living the experience, through taking the action that is asked of me to live my dream life. The past has nothing to do with our true potential. If I believed that, I would still be living that very low, sad, very small life. I believed that was me. But I can tell you, what I thought was my personality was only my belief system. And that's all anyone's personality is. Our personality is as changeable as the weather. It's as changeable as our clothes. We get to choose who we are. We get to choose how we show up in the world. We get to choose how big or small we play. But I know, as a creator, I can no longer choose to play small. I believe that is dishonouring myself. It's dishonouring to the Creator. After studying with Bob Proctor for 18 months, spending 12 months with Bob before he passed away in February this year, I feel like it would be dishonouring of Bob for me not to share what I know. And I can only share that and express that through my beingness. Whatever appears in my life only appears because I give it human parentage. There is nothing in my life that wasn't birthed through me. And if I am powerful enough to have birthed all that I can experience with my 5 senses and all that I can intuit, then I'm certainly powerful enough to create again and again and again, and to shape my world exactly as I want it. And this is what I'm passionate about. I am passionate about serving others and bringing this mastery of self to as many people as I can. I have a beautiful online system that I know works, has the ability to create as much abundance and wealth as you are able to embody. I've seen people create 7 figures in a year. I personally have experienced multiple 5-figure weeks and months, and I know that I'm only getting started. I have the ability to create generational wealth that my family will enjoy long after I've gone, and I get to create all of this through alignment, through being me, not by trading my life for the all-important dollar. And I don't think there's been a better time than right now for women to step into their truth, to understand who they are, and to bring the love and the nurture and the potential that each one of us has got and birth it into the world through our own parentage, through our own self. It means getting out of our own way, being open to new ideas, being open to new thought, being open to new self-expression. But isn't that what women are about? I've had 4 children, and I can tell you, If I can birth a baby, a physical human into this world, I can birth anything. It's been a lot less painful to birth a new life than it was to birth each of my children. And the deliciousness is every bit as enjoyable. So I ask you to sit down, to go within and ask yourself, what is the life that you truly want to create? What is your burning passion? And this needs to be something personal, because you are personal. You know, I've asked this on social media and so many people say, I want peace in the world. Well, guess what? Peace in the world comes from peace within you. We can't change the outside world by changing the world. We can only change the outside world by changing ourselves. By bringing harmony within, we create harmony without. Our physical world is our belief system made manifest. We can change our belief system to change our world. And it takes courage, because change steps us into the unknown. Even when the unknown is delicious, it can be scary. I've experienced this. You know, all of our old belief systems start to challenge us when we step into the new. But the beauty of this is you don't have to do it alone. When we do this together, we have each other. And I've been there before you. And there's nothing better than I enjoy than to support women to step into their power and to support them through whatever arises on their journey. Because to see them step into their whole self, to watch the transformation, is absolutely delicious. So thank you for giving me your time. I hope you enjoy what I've shared today. And as I said, tomorrow I'm going to share the strategy that I applied, I'm still applying, that I stepped into the business, the online academy, and the community that is all tied up in a beautiful little bundle of joy, of deliciousness, which pries us open bit by bit, which helps us to find ourselves. But I'm going to share this with you tomorrow with the help of my beautiful friend and mentor and co-creator in this business, Carolyn Zanetti. And I know that you will be inspired and delighted by what you see. And you don't have to remain like that fly and die on a windowsill somewhere. Life is for living. It's not for regret. Big love to you all.